the first thing that we should ask ourselves is that, has people done it before? Don't go to the red ocean, of course. Don't even go to the blue ocean, but instead go and discover your own vast grassland. But find someone who is willing to be tough and say things that may hurt us, that may make us angry. He told me this. You know what, Jet? I've got one arm and no legs. While millions of people are bedridden, they can't even get out of their hospital bed to see the world, you are mobile. How dare you wallow in self-pity? How dare you remain in your comfort zone? How dare you, Nick? You know, Milan bro, I felt ashamed of myself.
Hi guys, welcome to the 18th episode of the In Full Effect podcast. Super excited today. Today we have Jet on the call. We met, I think in 2019, or it might even been 2018 on one of the personal development events where Jet was a speaker. And since then, I've been intrigued by his story and all his experiences. He's the writer of, and now I have to look because it's such a funky name every time, of Goals and French Fries. It's about a 9-step goal mastery, and I'm sure he'll be able to tell us more about it. Besides that, he's a father, semi-retired as well, super energetic, and it's just great to be around him at all times. There's actually so many things that I want to hear from you, Jet. Yeah, first of all, thank you for coming on. It's great to have you.
Thank you so much, my beloved Milan brother. So happy to see you, right? Okay. And really looking forward to this chat together with you.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think the last time we talked is pre-COVID, of course. And now this probably more of a catch-up. Super excited to see what you've been up to over the lockdown and after, and what the plans are. The reason I wanted to get you on is like I said before, you're super experienced in so many different levels, and you've been through many things. So I'm very curious what your view is on a lot of things. So yeah, let's get into it. Maybe you can start a little bit of who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Okay. All right. So I grew up in a I would say blue collar family, right? And then my dad used to be a lorry driver. My mom used to be a seamstress, and then certain times she has to work night shift at some factories as well. Okay, it wasn't easy for us, but then I saw the hard work ethics of my mom and my dad. And that's when, of course, back in the early days, okay, our parents will give us advice, study hard and get a job, right? So I truly studied very, very hard. I get into one of the top schools in Singapore, the Chinese high school. Now they call it Hwa Chong Institution. And I was awarded Dean's List during my university days because my mom, upon seeing her and my dad working so hard to raise me up and raise my younger brother up. And since they say study hard, so I listened, I obeyed, and then I really go ahead and study hard. And upon graduation, I went to work for one of the top conglomerates in Singapore called PSA. It's actually a Port of Singapore Authority, the largest world container port in the world.
Wow.
So by God's grace, I think at a point in time, which is about 20 over years ago, they interview about 300, 400 graduates out of school. By God's grace, there are only 2 openings, and I happen to be one of the 2 to got in. Of course, back then, I was a very shy person. Milan, you heard my story on stage before. I was a very shy person. I didn't know how to speak well. I've got very few friends. I don't like to communicate. I was an extreme introvert. But I guess one of the reasons I got selected, okay, as a candidate and thereafter being hired by PSA was, I remember very clearly. In fact, a few days ago, I was sharing this story with one of my friends, and the vice president of finance interviewed me and along with other graduates. And then at the end of the interview, he just asked me this question. He said, Jet, where would you see yourself in 5 years time, in 7 years time, right? Okay, we get that a lot. At that point in time, there wasn't so much of a YouTube video or social media, so we couldn't really prepare well for interviews. So I was a bit stunned when he asked me that, where would I see myself in the next 5 to 7 years? And suddenly I just said, I want to be sitting in your position in 5 to 7 years time. And he just laughed. Okay, wow. He said, wow, what kind of egoistic guy this is, right? So confident. And then I got the position, and wasn't easy. I'm very thankful to my first finance manager. I think in life, I believe, Milan, you agree with me that in life, it's definitely, we are being shaped by the people that we meet, the books that we read, the movies that we watched, right? And probably the podcast that we listen to, right? Okay, so thankful to be invited by you on your amazing podcast. And that's when I was thinking, okay, might as well just work hard for it. Right. And my finance manager gave me a lot of projects to do. One of the nights I remember, because I wanted to complete the projects, I went into work on a Friday, and I didn't go home on a Friday night. I just slept in the office on Friday night, continued my project on Saturday, didn't go back home, on Saturday night, slept on the carpet floor in the office and managed to complete the projects on Sunday. Yeah. So that was the early days of my life, if you can put it that way. Studying hard, get a job. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's a story and a half to say. And moving on from there, like what happened further? What are you doing right now, for example?
I see. And for myself, I'm very blessed. By God's grace, my wife and I have been in business for the past 21, 22 years, and made our first pot of gold when I'm 29. Okay. And by 35, we were semi-retired. All this happened not because I'm super talented, not because I'm super creative, not because I'm super entrepreneurial. I believe I'm just an ordinary person. Okay. I know some of my friends from my alumni, they're very entrepreneurial. They dare to mortgage their house. Some even want to mortgage their wife, right? Okay. In order to invest millions of dollars into factories, into traditional business. I'm not that super entrepreneurial. I think one of the main reasons why we are able to succeed in business because we met the right people. We met the right mentors, right? Okay. And I managed to meet my very first business mentor. His name is Dr. George, about 21 years ago when I was just 26 years old. Like I mentioned, fresh from school, went to work as a finance guy, okay? Didn't know anything about business, extreme introvert. But Dr. George, he taught me about public speaking. And I realized that since I'm an introvert, right, okay, they were saying public speaking is ranked one of the top fears among a lot of people. And in order to conquer my fears, I decided, why not, okay, learn public speaking. And Dr. George moved on to teach me that and transform me from a very shy, introverted guy. I remember there was one of my first time going on stage. I prepared months for it, okay, for a speech, just a very short speech, probably for half an hour. And then after 10 minutes, I see, people behind just giving me the notion of, come on, Jet, get off the stage, get off the stage, get off the stage. And I was like, for goodness sake, I'm only 5 minutes in. I was thinking in my mind, but little did I know I wasn't natural, right? I was like putting the audience to sleep. So I was being chased off the stage after 5-10 minutes, even though I prepared so long. Okay, seems like eternity to me for the speech. Well, there's this little part in me that says, okay, probably I should give up. This is not my natural talent. I'm an introvert. Maybe I should pursue some other path. But there's also this voice, okay, thanks to my mom for her hard work ethics, is that probably I should put in more hours. Probably I should put in more hard work. And then over the years, I was invited to speak throughout the world.
Mhm.
So I must say, meeting the right mentors is very important. And thanks to my first business mentor, Dr. George, he didn't give up on me. Even though I was pretty slow learner in terms of business and also leadership and public speaking, but he just pumped in the hours to guide me along. And that's when I managed to achieve my life's breakthrough. Yeah.
Yeah, but basically that comes down to like hard work and persistence, right? No, like you said, you didn't have the talent for speaking, and it was also a fear, but you pushed through to get where you needed to be.
Yes, and also I feel that meeting the right mentor is so essential because I've seen many people. I believe you have met them as well. They put in a lot of hard work. They put in a lot of hours. Okay, probably more than 10,000 hours on their craft. But because they didn't meet someone who could just fine-tune and tweak whatever they are doing, so they are not able to achieve greater heights in their career.
Yeah, sometimes like you can put in the hours, but if you go in the wrong direction, you just need that little guidance towards the right path. Yeah, yeah, true. So you're an author as well, where you basically wrote about 9 steps of success or of mastery. Can you tell a little bit more about that?
Yep, it's been a long journey. Why would I say that? Because back in 2006, I'm someone whereby because I'm an introvert, I really love personal development. Okay, and that's why listeners tuning in to your amazing podcast, I feel so blessed for them because you're doing great work. So I invested a lot of money on personal development seminars. Sometimes my wife will a little bit nag at me. Hey, you're spending thousands of dollars again. So there was once 2006, I invested about $12,000, okay, on a seminar by Mark Victor Hansen. Right? Mark Victor Hansen is the founder of Chicken Soup for the Soul series. So whereby their books have sold millions and millions of copies, be it for the teenage soul, for the entrepreneurial spirit, for mothers, etc., for single parents, all kinds of topics. And in 2006, I spent that amount of money to go and learn from Mark Victor Hansen. And he said this, every one of us must write a book. Every one of us. Of course, back then I was still young and I was thinking, who am I, right? Okay, I'm not Bill Gates, I'm not Steve Jobs. Who am I to write my life's book? Who would even want to read it anyway, right? So I procrastinated. And I would say thanks to COVID, for the past 3-4 years, I was basically just spending time with my wife, Serene, and our beloved daughter, Celeste. So, and also focusing time on my fitness. So I participated in some Spartan obstacle races as well. Completed the Spartan Beast 21 kilometers race at personal record timing. So in fact, this morning, I just came back from 8 kilometers run. So every month, I clock about 100 kilometers jog, and run.
Wow.
So, and during COVID time, I just had a calling like, since all of us are locked down at home, be it yourself in your country, right? Okay. Singapore, right? We're locked down here as well. In fact, throughout the whole world. And suddenly this prompting came, I should write my life's first book. Not to sell it, but telling myself, if I were to leave one book, only one book from me, myself as the author, for my beloved daughter Celeste, what would I write?
Wow.
What would I want to, share with her, right? How I've been through life. And if I can only share certain traits and I would say technology or personal development tips, what would I share with her? And that's when I decided to share this 9 Steps Goal Mastery, which is a trademark patented technology. So thus far, it has helped more than 20,000 entrepreneurs, be it becoming multi-millionaires, be it, achieving their highs in their career, getting promotion, be it achieving a very blessed family life, okay? Because I think, Milan, you agree with me, I've seen friends whereby they're very successful in career. They make tons of money, but their children didn't even want to talk to them. Right, okay. They never had good relationship with their spouse, with their children. And I thought, I want to write a book whereby to share this technology with my daughter, such that when she grows up, she's not currently 12 years old. So probably in about 10 years time, by God's grace, she'll find the man she loves, okay, who loves her as well. And that's when, I want to share with her how she can put some of these steps into good use and also help her life. And little did I know, because of that, instead of, some authors, they just write a very thin book, 50 pages, and tell the whole world they are an author. So I didn't want to do that because I'm not doing it, okay, for the sake of letting people know I'm an author. I just want to pass this book to my daughter. And I wrote about 80 over 1,000 words, close to 300 pages. It's a very thick book. In fact, it's not a book, it's a manual, operating manual. And it became a bestseller upon launch. So bestseller at Amazon. And right now, Singaporeans, we can find it at Kinokuniya bookstores in Singapore. Yeah,
that's great.
So very, very grateful to have that book. And I'm so honored because there's this gentleman by the name of Nick Santos, right? Nick Santos, actually, he's a partner of Tony Robbins. And I think all of us will know Tony Robbins, right? Especially those of us who are focused on personal development. So Tony Robbins, I know that he seldom or rarely puts people on his stage, especially on day one of his event, especially on day one. But I'm so curious and so surprised that Tony Robbins put this gentleman called Nick Santos on his stage on day one of his grand event. Thousands of people. Online was about 20,000 people, and that's when very honored to meet him. Hired him as one of my personal coaches. Invested lots of money. And I told him that I'm going to write a book. He's very delighted. So he got a copy, and very grateful to him that he endorses it as well. Yeah, together with some of my business friends throughout the world. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I saw on your website that you can order it online as well. So I definitely have to get a copy of that. Is there an audio version or like a digital version of that?
Just the book version. I haven't had the time to make it to audio version. It's only in English right now. Some of my China entrepreneurs friends, even though they could not read English, they ordered various copies into China. But probably in future we'll translate it into Chinese. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's a very inspiring story about it's a really nice why you want to do it, right? It's not just like, okay, I want to write a book, I want my name out there. No, it's like you do it for a reason, and that probably translates also in your book. I have not had the chance yet to read it, so I hope it actually ships to Vietnam, and I'll order it soon. Yeah, super exciting. Thank you for sharing that. Just a little bit about the rest of your life. What are your current goals and aspirations right now?
Current goals and aspiration for the past 3 to 4 years. Okay, so like I mentioned, I just spending time with the family. Of course, over these past 3 to 4 years, a lot of partners came knocking on my door. I think more than 10 separate organizations came knocking on my door to see whether I should partner with them. But you know what, Milan, it's that a lot of all these enterprises and platforms and business, right? Either you have heard about it before or you have done it before, okay, maybe 5 years, 10 years, 20 years ago. So for me, what I learned from my various mentors is that if you're going to go into business, right, don't go into an industry or don't go into an arena whereby you need to fight to be number one. Yep. Choose an industry, choose an arena whereby you are the only one. You are the only one, because when you are the only one, there's no competitors in the market yet. And that's when you can solidify your position, okay, and expand be it the technology or the products and services that you're supplying, right, okay, to the whole of the region or the world before other people come to know of you and before other people can come and play catch up. So that's when, it's very different from this concept called blue ocean strategy. I think most of us have heard about blue ocean strategy. Red ocean is whereby there are too many competitors. People are just competing on price, right? Price war. That's why there's a bloodshed in the ocean, and that's why it's red. So many, many years ago, there's this blue ocean strategy whereby go into an arena whereby there's just probably 6, 7, 8 or 9 competitors. There's no price war yet, right? It's still blue. But what I learned, especially these past couple of years, is that don't go to the red ocean, of course. Don't even go to the blue ocean, but instead go and discover your own vast grassland. Like the vast grassland in Tibet is very, very beautiful. You don't see people there. You don't see anyone there, okay? Probably you see some horses, and that's when the chances of your business becoming a unicorn company can be much higher. And for our listeners dialing in, unicorns are startups within 6 years. They are valued at more than $1 billion US. Yeah. So for the past 3 to 4 years, I've just been waiting, praying, what should be my next move in business. And just now I mentioned when I was 26 years old, back 21 years ago, okay, now I'm almost 50 years old, but thank God I don't look 50, right? And like I mentioned, Dr. George taught me a lot of things. But the sad thing is that in 2007, he left Singapore for China, right? Because he married someone from China. So he unplugged himself out of Singapore, right? Very gutsy move, just like yourself, okay? Unplug yourself from your home country. And right now you're in this beautiful country in Vietnam. So proud of you, my brother. And he unplugged himself from Singapore and he moved on to China. So I didn't really got a lot of time to meet up with him anymore. Okay, he moved on into investment banking, corporate finance. In fact, he helps consult for companies. Normally, the revenue is at least 50 million to 5 billion RMB, renminbi in revenue a year, annual revenue. So past 7 years, he was working for Jim Rogers, being in charge of his projects in China. Yeah. So about sometime late last year, he came back to Singapore. I caught up with him. So now I'm partnering with him on some venture related to some German deep technology. Yeah. So that's when past few months have been more, I would say, busier as compared to my past 3 to 4 years. But I believe that, when it's a season to sow, we go all the way. When there's a season to rest, okay, we just rest. And of course, when there's a season to reap the rewards, okay, we go out there and reap all the rewards that we can and impact the society. Yep.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So basically you go a bit to phases in your life, and then like you plan a little bit, okay, like try not to force anything. We do what we do now and then see what happens with that, and then work hard when it needs to be, and then not much loss of energy, basically.
Correct. Because energy, I like what you mentioned. Okay, according to Albert Einstein, okay, he mentioned that everything in life is vibration. Everything in life is about vibration. And there's another very famous inventor. His name is Nikola Tesla, whereby Elon Musk named his electric car company after this particular gentleman, Nikola Tesla. And he mentioned this before, saying that if we want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency, which is very important. So I got my energy very well. And also I got to give thanks to my godfather. Okay, I'm a Catholic. Thanks to my Catholic godfather, he taught me the arts of real estate investing. So for the past 10 over years, through the earnings that I make from business, I plow into apartments and then buy them and then rent them out for another source of passive income in terms of investment, rental income. So I love what you mentioned, bro, the energy. You got to guard it very well. Guard it very well as though it's the most precious thing. Spend it only with the right people. Spend it only on the right projects, and spend it only on the right passion. That is extremely, extremely important, which you mentioned it. So proud of you. Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned the right people, the right projects, but how can you like actually identify what is right and not?
Okay.
Because that's one of the reasons I do this podcast. I want to learn from the best or people experienced in certain ways. Because I always have difficulties identifying certain things. How I used to go about things is I throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And that's how I learn. I do something, I fail, but I learn from that failure and move on. Yeah. But is that the way to conserve energy, or how would you go about it?
I'm still learning. Okay. In fact, when my business mentor came back to Singapore, I've got a lot of time with him since he's here in Singapore. And what I learned from him through his years of experience consulting with companies, right? Okay. I think one of the first thing, which I mentioned to some of my friends yesterday in our office as well, is that the first thing that we should ask ourselves is that, has people done it before? Has people done it before? If there are already people doing it, it's a space that is, be it crowded, or it's a space whereby there are already people, being the first movers advantage for the past 3 years, 4 years, then we got to evaluate whether, we want to go into that particular industry or platform or business, right? Or whether that product or services has been offered in the market before. Because if it's offered already in the market, we've got to find a lot of USP. I mean, we all know unique selling proposition, right? Okay. In order to really go and compete with the first movers out there. Say, for example, Uber, we all know Uber, right? Of course, right now there's many such ride companies around, Grab, Ride, etc., Lyft even. But when Uber first started, it was the only one of its kind, only one. And I read the story of the Uber founder, right? What happens is that he was in Europe attending a convention, okay? He was in Europe attending a convention, and it was in winter times, okay? So it's very cold. And he was waiting for a taxi outside in the cold, okay? On his way to the convention venue, and all the cabs are full, all the taxis are full, and it's getting colder and colder and colder and colder. And what happens is that he saw a lot of passenger cars, the back seats are empty. He saw a lot of passenger cars, the back seats are empty. And that's when he started out, with an idea. A thought came to his mind. What if, I could plan out something, maybe an app, and then get all these passenger cars that move from point A to point B and pick up people who want to move from point A to point B as well, and then ride together with them in the private cars. Of course, right now, we all know that it's a very good idea, but when he first started, he was met with a lot of rejections, with a lot of no's. Even the investors were challenging him. What if a passenger went on board a passenger car, a private car, and got kidnapped, right? Or got molested, or something happened, or got robbed, okay? Who's going to take care of the insurance? Who's going to do this, do that, etc.? And that's when what I learned is that if you find an idea whereby it satisfies the society's pain points, whereby not just him, but many people face the same issue, the society's pain points, you realize that there'll be a big market for it. That's one. And then secondly is that in the first beginning stage, you will face a lot of rejections and people pouring cold water on you. And of course, we all know Jack Ma, right? With Alibaba, his first group of investors, nobody want to invest with him. Everyone thinks, he looks weird. Okay. He sounds weird, right? Where would people want to invest in a Alibaba, internet platform, linking up the suppliers to the end users, B2B or B2C. So, but because he know it is something that is the right thing, and he persevered with it. So if someone comes across to us and it seems that we have heard about it before, then probably that idea is not a very good idea. Because before Uber started, none of us have ever heard about we could get a ride with a stranger's car. Am I right? Right? So that is something that the first, I would say, litmus test. Yeah. Whether other people have heard it before. Yeah. And of course, I always believe in leverage. So instead of me trying to think using my own limited brain, right, I will go to people whereby they already have the experience, just like my current business partner. He owns a hedge fund. So he manages a hedge fund in Europe. The hedge fund size is about 1.5 billion euros. So he has been there, done that. He's a billionaire. So basically right now he's like, happily retired. He just wants to spend time, okay, helping the human race increase in human consciousness. So what happens is that he's spending some time to open up vegan restaurants. He's a vegan. And he opened up one of the vegan restaurant, which is called Tian, Tian, the Chinese word for sky. So it's awarded with Michelin star as well. So some of these things that maybe we are not so sure, we should seek help. We should seek counsel from those other people who have been there, done that. Like Dr. George, he has helped several companies go listing, go IPO on the stock exchange of Hong Kong and also other stock exchanges. So he has seen many companies who couldn't make it. He has seen many ideas that failed. So whenever I have any question or doubts, I will go to him for advice. Yeah.
Well, that's why I have you on the podcast. People with more experience and knowledge.
I'm still learning. Thank you very much. Really, really an honor to be here on your podcast. Thank you.
It's super exciting. So moving on, what is actually the essence of the podcast? And funny enough, that's what I wanted to call the podcast initially, is what do you think is your full potential?
Oh, very good. Full potential. I feel we would never be able to witness or even understand our full potential because every single day we are meeting new friends. Every single day we are meeting people whereby they are able to elevate us to the next level. And talking about full potential, I'm very grateful. For the past few years, I've got two spiritual mentors. One of them is a priest, Father Damien, from the Catholic Church, Opus Dei. And then another mentor that I respect a lot, okay, he's just turned 71 years old this year. His name is Dr. Joel, okay. He's a quantum physicist. He's a very successful mathematician. In fact, before COVID times, he was invited to Europe to speak to all the academic people on physics, on math. And I heard from his friends that, he can walk around the football field without any pen or paper or writing materials with just his head, right? Okay. He could solve complex mathematical equation just walking around the football field, just thinking. And for the past, I think coming to 3 to 4 years, almost every single 1 to 2 months, I'll meet up with him. I ask him about life. I ask him about, faith. I ask him about God, okay? Because I think many of us know that whatever we have on earth, probably until we are 85 years old, maybe 95, maybe you have fortunate 100 years old, right? Okay. So after that, it's really something that we should really focus on. And that's when, for me, which I'm still growing, I think the fullest potential will be on earth. What are we able to, in terms of unleashing our talents, thereby impacting society? I think that is very, very important. So fullest potential, I don't think I've witnessed my fullest potential yet. like in terms of health, I never imagined I'll run 100 kilometers a month, right? Okay. So who knows? Maybe soon I'll run 200 kilometers a month, right? At the same time, in my book, I mentioned set something big that you will feel nervous. Set something,
when it scares you.
Yes, that scares you. And, you know, I didn't imagine at Maldives, you know, it's supposed to be relaxed, right? Okay. In Maldives, I got the most enriching and empowering trip in Hard Rock Maldives. Okay. If listeners, you're going to Maldives, you must go to Hard Rock Maldives. Why is that so? Because over there, you know, my whole family, we're enriched with a lot of life-changing activities. And one of them, I'm very blessed to be able to encounter Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, I didn't know there was this sport. But even as a beginner, I'm able to row in terms of meaning like sparring, right? Okay, with someone who's much more experienced than me, such that within like 5 minutes, but it seems like a 2 hours workout, and I could be able to unleash whatever I can in terms of what I know, in terms of the techniques on the BJJ. So after coming back from Maldives, right now I'm in search for the right BJJ dojo or BJJ school, so that I can challenge myself, right? Okay. I'm now 47. Of course, yesterday I asked the instructor, is it too old to start at 47? And he said, no, look at some of our students here. He's 47, she's 55, he's 56. I said, okay, I'm at the right place, right? And I was thinking, I mean, I haven't shared this to anyone yet. Okay. But since you asked me that, I feel that in terms of health, if I can ride on this journey, on the BJJ journey, it helps with the mental power as well. To get a black belt before I turn 60 years old for the next 13 years. I think that would be quite a good achievement in terms of health. Of course, having said that, Milan, I suddenly remember that about a few months ago, I read a book. Okay. The book, right, which later I'll share with you the title, right? The book talks about a lot of people, they didn't believe that they are good enough. They did not believe that they are good enough. And that's why they are always in search of the next goal, the next achievement to help them become more fulfilled. Mm-hmm. But I believe, Milan, you and I will have met a lot of people, no matter how successful they are, they will always be gunning for the next big goal. They will always be I'm not saying don't set big goals. Big goals are important, okay? Very important. It pulls us forward, okay? It drives us forward. It lets us be able to wake up in the morning, you know, with enthusiasm, right? All these are important. At the same time, many people just work on that. And by the time they achieve even a bigger goal, it just lasts them probably, say, less than 24 hours. or they buy a new car, be it a Ferrari or Lamborghini. It satisfies them for a week or so, and they just want to gun for the next achievement, the next toy, the next trophy, the next business goal, the next, black belt, say, for example, right? Okay. So what I got from that book is that a lot of people, they are on this, vicious cycle of achieving more. Is that because when they were young, when they were born, they were not properly affirmed. What I mean is not those kind of affirmation whereby, oh, I got good results, so my mom buy me a toy, right? That is not the proper affirmation. That is affirmation with a condition, right? I'm talking about no matter what that person does, whether be it in society's, a description or perspective, is not a good thing, but that person is still loved for who he is, for who she is. And you realize that a lot of very successful people, what I mean is that, they are very complete, they're whole, is that since young, they found someone who loved them unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I'm a parent, okay, right? I'm a dad. Not many parents even love their children unconditionally. It's always the case. Okay, you do well in the studies, you work hard, right? Okay, then I'll bring you for holidays.
Yeah.
Right? So my daughter, our daughter, actually is going through PSLE this year, which is pre-P6, a very important exam. So in our mind, we were thinking, because a lot of our peers are not going for any holidays during these June holidays. But we were thinking, why not? Right? She's our beloved daughter. It's not to say that, she need to score well in her exams, then we bring her for holidays. Mm. That is conditional love. And a lot of parents are like that. Very often, I have to remind myself that I cannot fall into that trap.
Yeah, indeed. Wow, very interesting. So full potential, never ending story, basically, but just need to realize that there's always a next step and you should go for that next step, and it's never too late.
It's never too late. Definitely, we should go for the next step.
So with Jiu-Jitsu, did you only just started, or how long have you been doing it?
For me, I'm someone whereby even before I started something, or right now I'm looking for the right school, I'm reading a lot. In fact, I just completed this book. The title is Breath, Breathe, okay, by Rickson Gracie. Mm-hmm. Okay, in the world of BJJ, the Gracie family is very, very instrumental to the promotion and to the development of the Brazilian gentle art throughout the world for the past few decades. So immediately I went to research on Google, in terms of BJJ, who are the top people, and I start to read into their mindset. So while a lot of people, new beginners, they are learning the know-hows, I always believe the know-why is more important than the know-hows. The why is more important than the hows. So I've been reading a couple of books, one of them, like I mentioned just now. So to read into the mindset of what it takes to be I wouldn't say put it a successful competitor, but I would say, how do they actually grow with the gentle art itself? Yeah. So I'm just beginning. And secondly, I also ensure that, I find the right school with friends. And because with the right community, with the right tribe, we are able to last the distance better, right? So these are the two things that I'm now in the midst of doing, in addition to my business career. Yep. Yeah.
What's very interesting? Yesterday I was reading a book, what is basically a collection of the best sales tips from successful people around the world. And I only got into the introduction of it, but the writer of it, Brandon, and I forgot his last name, was saying that the way he achieves success is by doing or following what the most successful people in that field is doing. And everything you've been saying so far is exactly like that. You always and I know you're part of having mentors is like that. And we'll get more into mentors soon, because that's for me also a very important topic. But you make sure you find the best in that field, and you try to be like that person, or you try to seek advice from that person, or from whatever they do. Is that always something you've been trying to do, or when did you realize that that's the way to go?
So I think thanks to Dr. George, ever since 21 years ago, I learned that, in order to become excellent in whatever that you do, okay, one of the first steps is to model after someone, okay, whereby they are already successful in terms of, number one, their mindset. And mindset is split into values and belief, which I mentioned in my book of Goals and French Fries. So in terms of values, what we value to be the most important thing in our life, okay? So different people in different fields, they value different things. So we got to understand what they value the most in order to be so successful in his particular or her particular career. So the second thing is to learn their belief, okay, their empowering belief, right, that helps them propel forward to achieve the success that they have now. Of course, if I'm able to meet up with that person personally, I will definitely go and fight for the chance, and not just fight for the chance to meet once, but if possible, meet at least every week or at least every month so that it becomes a long-term continuation, okay? Because a lot of times people just go through a seminar, people just listen to a talk, and they're excited for like 1 hour, they're excited for 1-2 days. But after a while, they go back to their own usual work environment. They go to their usual, let's say, corporate environment or business environment or family environment, and then they go back to square one again. So, like I mentioned just now, one of the most important thing, in fact, the most important thing that I feel all successful people, they are focusing on, be it Mark Wahlberg, okay, right? Okay, he's somebody that I respect a lot. I mean, he lived through very tough times when he was very young. He got in touch with the wrong people, he went the wrong path. He did certain things not right, okay? But Mark Wahlberg, I would say, met the right people, okay? Managed to align his what you call it, path, managed to have this solid foundation, especially regarding his faith. And I'm so proud of him because recently, I think he co-produced one of the movies called Father Stew, okay, STU, Father Stew. And that's when I think he realizes that the foundation, okay, meeting the right people, and especially anchoring on the right faith is so important. And that's when I'm very grateful to Dr. Joel because he always takes time out, okay, to meet up with me every 1 to 2 months so that I'm being aligned. Just like driving a car, right? Milan, driving a car, we need to do the oil change, right? Okay. We need to go and, adjust the tires. Of course, we leave it to the mechanics, we leave it to the expert. But every 3 to 6 months or at most, 9 months, we got to do that for our car. But most people don't do that to their mind, don't do that to their brain, don't do that to their energy, even after 5, 10, 20 years. Which is sad, right?
Yeah, one of my favorite analogies is as well, like how sometimes you tilt with only 1% in a different direction. And if you don't correct it in time, then over a very long period of time, you might end up in a whole different place. But if you correct every now and then back into that even that 1%, back on the right path, that you get to your goals and to your destination that you're intended to. So I think that's like a similar way that, like, okay, sometimes you need like realignment, even if it's your wheels that are wrong.
Yes.
That's
Totally
a really good
agree.
analogy.
I like your analogy. Even though it could be 1 degree, but if we don't tweak it and don't find the right people to tweak it, then it will just go off course, okay, after 3 months, after 3 years, etc. And that's when I'm very blessed to be able to meet recently someone from Europe. He's a very successful business entrepreneur. And then over the past 3 years, okay, he made a net profit of $10 million US, which, well, I've met friends whereby, in 3 years, maybe they made $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. But he made more than $10 million, okay, within just 3 years. And right now, his business that he's running, he's making about 500,000 euros, which is €500,000 a month. A month.
That's crazy.
I mean, I've earned 6-digit income figure, right? At the same time, I believe that, being with him every so often, okay, is able to, like what you mentioned, able to help us tweak that 1 degrees, 2 degrees, so that our ship will steer to the right destination in time to come.
Yeah, 100%. So for you, we talked about full potential, but it's never ending. But what do you do daily? What are your habits to stay on that right path?
Very good. Very good. How much time do we have?
That's up to you.
No, I got to respect the owner of the podcast. Okay, usually how long is the average podcast?
I had an episode of 30 minutes and I had an episode of 2.5 hours. So
wow, yeah, I see. Okay. Okay, right. Okay, I'll just do a very brief one, right? Okay. And listeners dialing in, right? Okay, you can go to this website, www.9stepsmastery.com. Okay, later I'll get Milan to show you as well. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I mentioned in my book, okay, in terms of building habits for life and business, which can be found on page 195 in the book, right? Okay, it talks about energy. That's why, Milan, dear amazing brother, I'm so amazed that just now you mentioned that word energy. I've seen a lot of people, they talk at great lengths about strategies, about techniques, about know-hows, but never once, maybe in their hours of sharing, right, did they mention energy. Energy is so important. Without energy, basically nothing can be done. Nothing can be done. And over here, you will see, I don't know whether you can see over here, you will see that there's like a superwoman, right?
Yeah, okay. I saw.
Yes, and then not with the capital S standing for Superman, but with the capital C, because our daughter is called Celeste. So capital C, Supergirl over there. And in terms of the habits, I'll just run through very briefly over here. Number 1, okay, E. E as in, energy, ENERGY. E stands for early riser. Some people sleep till 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 a.m., right? Some people wake up when lunch is ready. Okay. And I believe, Milan, you have interviewed various successful people. And I believe that the majority, I wouldn't say all, okay, I would say majority of them, they are definitely early riser.
So what's an early rise for you?
Okay. Early riser to me personally is at least earlier than 6 a.m.
Okay.
Yes, before the sun rises.
Oh, wow.
Why do I say that? Because you realize, right? Okay, I believe probably you do that as well. Before the sun rises, the world is calm. Before the sun rises, while most people are asleep, we are one of the first to be, awake, right? We already won the game at the beginning of the day. So that becomes a very powerful mindset. While most people are still sleeping at 7 and 8, right? Okay, let's say at 5:45 a.m., we are already awake, right? But of course, in my book, I also mentioned most people, including myself in the past, the moment they are awake, right? What do? They take out their mobile phone and then look at their WhatsApp, social media, who's contacting them, etc. So that's when I mentioned in the book, not just being an early riser, but what do you do in that first 15 minutes to 30 minutes? So what I do in the morning is that when I wake up, I give blessings, right? I give blessings to God, all right? Okay, I do a short prayer. And then I go about reading, for me, okay, the gospel of the day. And after that, I listen to a 10 minutes, I would say, a YouTube video talking about the gospel of the day.
Okay.
So E stands for early riser. Of course, there's more things there, right? Or I'll just do it, share very briefly. N stands for, right, nutrition. Yep. By God's grace, thanks to my brother, he shared with me certain movies about 3 years ago. One of them is called Game Changers. I think you can find it on Netflix. So for the past few years, I've taken myself off meat.
Okay.
Yeah, I still take some fish. Okay, in fact, I'm a pescatarian. Okay, not vegetarian, but pescatarian. I still take some fish and seafood. And meat, pork, beef, right, etc. I don't want to give too much details, but listeners, if you have time, go and watch this movie called Game Changers. Arnold Schwarzenegger is in there as well, and so are very, very famous people and celebrities in there as well. So nutrition is very important. So my first meal of the day is not bacon, it's not fried food. Right, my first meal of the day in the morning, thanks to my helper. So after I come back, okay, from sending my daughter to school, okay, I will go for exercise. Like this morning, I went for an 8 kilometers jog. And after that 1 hour, I came back home. There will be a smoothie waiting for me, made of soy milk, chia seeds, some vegan protein powder, some super green powder, right? Okay. Some, what you call it, essence, and some fruits, all blended into a smoothie. And that's the first meal of my day.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So N stands for nutrition. And E, what's the next E? Let me just share. Exercise. Yep. Which is so, so important. We need to move our body. And like what I learned from Tony Robbins back when I was 26 years old, he said this that I'll never forget. Motion creates emotion.
Yeah.
Motion creates emotion. Motion creates emotion. So I ensure that I'm always saying the right things, the positive vibes of words, right? Because words hold power. I always ensure that I'm moving, right? Okay. Even while I'm sitting here speaking, I'm moving, right? Okay. Because motion creates emotion. So E is exercise. And then the next will be R. R stands for rest. Rest, right? We need to rest well, especially as I age, especially as I'm coming 50 years old. Rest is of absolute importance. And of course, G. Okay, ENERG. G stands for gratitude. Yeah. So I've got this habit that I've been doing for the past couple of years. Every morning, I will write down what am I most grateful for in the morning. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's one very powerful journal that you could get. Okay, if you have not getting it yet, okay, it's called the 5 minutes journal, 5MJ. Okay. 5 minutes journal, right? And what I like is that it's truly just 5 minutes, right? But it break it down into morning part and night part. And it's broken down into 5 specific questions that we ask ourselves each and every single day. So gratitude, okay, the 5MJ is part of my routine and my habit, okay, every single day. And of course, last but not least, Y. Y stands for YIPPEE. Why did I put it in my book? Because myself, my wife, and my daughter, we term ourselves, okay, EP Trail, YIPPEETRIO, ever since our daughter was born. And I think, Milan, you have heard the story, right? Okay, even before we met, when my daughter was born, she was already traveling the world, such that before she reached 2 years old, she's been to more than 10 countries. Wow. So we call ourselves EP Trail. And why EP? It stands for we need to collect wonderful moments, right? We need to collect magical moments each and every single day. Just like today, at the end of the day, right? I'll be writing to this question from the 5 minutes journal. What great things happened today? and I'll write down one magical moment that happened today is going on a podcast of my beloved brother Milan's podcast, right? So that is when ENERGY, energy, it is so important. And with all these specific routines and habits built into my daily life for the past, I would say some of them has been with me for the past few decades. Some of them have been with me for the past couple of years. And that's what helped me, build me to where I am today.
That's great. That's very interesting. Yeah. And while you were all explaining that, I was trying to like match where I am at that level, because in the last few months, actually, since I started the podcast, I've been talking to more people and then listening to their habits and their lifestyle, and then try to match and mimic where it works for me and my lifestyle, of course. And it comes all indeed like nutrition, exercise, gratitude. Wow.
Very good. Yes.
And all these things. So I'm trying to implement it step by step, not all at once, because then it might be an overload, but a little bit here and there for sure. Yeah. Awesome. You talked a little bit about your values before, that it's very important to you, but what are your core values?
My core values are my top 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 1 is my faith. God. Yep. In fact, in my book, I mentioned several successful celebrities and actors and actresses, whereby they put first things first, their faith, and their life, becomes very aligned and wonderful. But there are people, in my book, I mentioned this particular, it's a sad story, right? Okay, he's a celebrity chef. I think many of us know him. His name is Anthony Bourdain. Okay, he's rich. Okay, he's famous, right? Okay, I think, was it him who dined with the president in Vietnam or somewhere, right? Etc. I can't remember, right? So he's famous, he's rich, he's powerful, but we all know he committed suicide. Because probably he didn't have a solid foundation on the spiritual side of things. So number 1, my core value, God. Number 2, family. Number 2, family, right? And I've seen some of my friends, they are very successful by the world standards, but they have broken families. Yeah. In fact, probably right now, as I'm speaking with you, I would like to reach out to you and your listeners to pray for my younger brother's my younger brother's nephew. Okay, that means my younger brother's wife's brother's child. He's diagnosed with some terminal disease. He's very, very young, okay? And the doctors say he might not have too long, much more, yep, okay? And I feel that I was talking with my younger brother. We were just discussing, we don't know whether it's due to the fact that his parents were divorced. Which is only recently, yeah. So I think some of these things that happen, especially in terms of family, really puts a trauma on the children. Yep. And I think with the emotion trauma, it turns out to be physical illness, right? So if you can, send a prayer to him. His name is Jacob. Yep. So that's when second is family. And God, family, and third is health. Because without health, I don't think I can do anything much. Okay, without health, I don't think we'll be able to stick to a very tight schedule. Okay, without health, we cannot embark on various projects. Without health, I don't think we'll be looking good, right? Okay, so God, family, health, and then fourth will be wealth, okay, and business, which is important because with more wealth, we are able to impact the society much better. And last but not least, as my fifth value will be leaving behind a legacy. Yeah. Henceforth, I decided to write the book, not so much to sell the book, but to leave behind a legacy for not only my daughter, but for anyone out there who have set goals before, but they never achieve it. They're disappointed. They won't dare to set big goals anymore. So at least I want to share this technology to the readers out there. Yep. So these are my top 5 values.
That's awesome. Yeah. There's actually, I haven't really heard it in this extent from someone. Like usually it's people's are like communication, trust, and that's like those, and that's everyone's core values. That's up to them. But those are more like a derivative of what your real arching core values are. I have a feeling. It's very interesting. You already mentioned quite a few things about the people that influenced you in your life, mainly mentors, and I assume also your family. Would you say your first mentor is definitely the person that has been shaping you the most to who you are right now?
I regard him as someone I respect a lot. He's my first business mentor. Okay. So, of course, in life, there are also other people who have shaped my life. One of them is definitely my mother. Yeah. So my mother, I mean, ever since I was born, I've known her to be a very assertive person, right? Okay. And also, she works hard. And even though she works hard when I was very young, when we were very young together, my younger brother, she never did once complain. Yeah, she never did once complain. And that's when I am so grateful, okay, to her. And of course, another person I want to mention is definitely my dear wife, Serene, whom you know as well, right? And I'm so blessed to be able to know her ever since 22 years ago.
Wow.
And after that, we got married because she really puts a lot of I would say confidence in myself, okay, with regards to maybe some of my weaknesses. No matter what happens in life, be it good or not so good, she's always calm, right? Okay. That's why her name is Serene, right? Okay. She's always calm. She's always like chill. She's always okay, right? She's and that's when I'm grateful to her for complimenting my strength, and I'm very grateful to her for taking good care of my daughter. Yeah, our daughter is very close to us, very very close to us. In fact, we are not like dad and child; it's more like friends.
Pals,
it's not like mother and daughter. It's more like friends, right? Okay. So I'm very grateful to her, and recently, I think a few weeks back, I told her that, wow, I'm so blessed to have you as my daughter's mother, because you truly know how to when to pull in the kite and when to let go.
Yeah.
Wow. Right. Okay. So that is an art, and I'm so amazed, because sometimes if we pull the kite too, hold the kite too strong, the string may just break. So that's when, just recently I told her that, and I'm very grateful to her for really impacting my life. Yeah,
that's great.
Yes.
Are there any events in your life that turned things around, or that shaped you the way you are?
Very good question. Okay, right. Okay, Milan, very good question. The events.
Probably the birth of your daughter, I would imagine.
Yes, that's definitely one of them. We didn't have it easy. We got married in 2002. We decided to start a family upon 2004, 2005. So, we could not have any child, okay, in 05, 06, 07, 08. And then 2009, Serene was pregnant, okay, but it turned out to be a tubal pregnancy, so it got to be let go. We were very disheartened, you know. We actually thought, might as well just get a dog, right? Okay, okay, right. So that's when by God's grace, you know, very very close to that incident, the tubal pregnancy. She conceived again. She became pregnant again. We were praying, right? Okay, please don't let it happen again. And on 10 December 2010, okay, Celeste, our beautiful daughter, was healthily born. So we didn't have it easy. So you are right. That is definitely one of the turning points of my life. And I thank God for the business that I discovered back during my early days. So I was already earning passive income. I was already collecting rental income. So when she was born, my wife and I can dedicate almost 99% of our time to spend with her. Every day, every single day, from 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old. You can literally say that we are never out of her sight. Never out of her sight. So, I mean, right now she's in primary school, and I really am very thankful to God for helping me discover the right business along my journey, such that, you know, whenever it's an important event at school, I will always have the chance to be there.
Yeah.
You see, it's pretty easy to see mothers at their child's event at the school. But usually when I go there, maybe I just only see 1 to 2 fathers, especially it's in daytime because most of the fathers are working. So that's when that's one significant event. My daughter was born. Our daughter was born. I think second significant event is which I remember very clearly. It's I was working in the corporate world, right? I was working in the corporate world, and because of my hard work ethics and all thanks to the vice president of finance, he linked me up to some very good projects in the organization. So I was involved in the PSA bond issue exercise and also the listing exercise of PSA, the IPO exercise. So I get to be in the same boardroom as investment bankers, Morgan Stanley, UBS, Warburg, right? All the top lawyers in the whole of Asia. And I was working day to night. I didn't have the chance to ever see the sun because before the sun rises, I was in the office. And when I left the office, the sun has already set, right? But I'm very thankful because one day I was invited by the top person in finance, okay, into her office. So she's got this very large corporate office. In fact, you know, you knock on the door, you enter the door, you see the secretary first. So the secretary herself got a very large office.
Wow.
And then I'll sit there, and then after that, the secretary, okay, an old lady will say, okay, Jet, okay, this lady, Grace, right? Okay, the EVP of finance, okay, is ready for you. Okay, so I knock on the door again and I enter into her large room. And I will never forget that moment. I was sitting there. She was sitting in front of me. And before we started the conversation, I was looking around her office, okay? And behind me, that means directly in front of her, which is behind me, I observed there were 3 drawings. 3 drawings. I mean, I'm not very well versed in art. So I asked her, wow, whose paintings are those? Okay, probably belongs to some famous painter, right? And then she told me, those 3 drawings are from my children. And because she worked long hours in the corporate world, she pasted the drawings in her office to remind her of her children. And I'm thankful to her. Why? Because it planted a seed in my mind. I don't want to be sitting there. I don't want to be sitting there, okay, working day to night, long hours, right? Board meetings, corporate meetings, right? Okay, flying for business meetings. And then I don't have time with my family. And that's when the seed got planted. And I always believe when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? Okay, ask and you shall receive. And that's when, I think it was just a few months later, my friend, okay, introduced me to my first business mentor, Dr. George. And within, I think, 1 month plus, no, less than 1 month, I quit my job.
Wow.
I quit my job. Okay, right? Okay. All my friends were saying, hey, Jet, you're stupid. You do corporate career, right? You're climbing the corporate ladder. Well, I think the next promotion will belong to you, right? Okay. And you actually leave just 3 weeks before getting the mid-year bonus. So
wow.
I told them, I'm not for the money, okay? Because I want to learn. I want to learn the art of leadership, public speaking, business strategies, communication, all the skill sets that schools never taught me. And I'm willing to trade my job for that. Yeah.
Yes. That's very significant. Wow. Very interesting. That's very cool. Throughout your journey and even more so now, do you compare yourself with other people?
The answer is definitely yes. Right, okay. People who said no, either they are lying, okay, okay, or they belong to the smallest group of people in the world, much smaller than the group of multi-billionaires in the world, whereby they were properly affirmed unconditionally when they were young. Yep. That means they are very clear of themselves, right? And they have huge faith and they believe they are good enough no matter whether they are achieving well or not achieving well. Yeah. And that's when, Milan, just now I was mentioning the book, right? Okay. The book title is called Born Only Once. Born Only Once. And the author is actually, I think, a medical doctor. The author is by Conrad Baars, Baars.
Yeah.
It's a very old book. It's not a famous book. It's not a bestseller. But I would say for the past few years, if you wanted me to pick the top 3 books I've read, okay, it is this book called Born Only Once. Yeah. And it's a very easy read. Okay, thanks. Really thanks to Conrad Baars, even though he's MD, but he make it very easily palatable and digestible. And even though it's easily palatable, I would recommend reading it at least a few times, such that we will be able to work on the principles that's being shared and truly achieve unconditional affirmation, especially when you are starting a family, right? So that would be the biggest and greatest gift that we could give to our next generation. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. We're moving towards the end, but I still have a few questions to ask.
Okay.
So you talk to a lot of people in your life. You talk to a lot of successful people in your life. What would be the one piece of advice that you ever received that you value most?
There are many, definitely. I mean, after meeting so many successful people in this world, there's only one, right? One piece of advice
that has been told to you.
Yeah. I would say, to put it very simply, right? Okay. It's just be yourself. Be yourself. Of course, what I learned, which is longer version, is like, you are a square peg, PEG, but you're trying to fit in a circle or round hole, right? Okay. Which is totally impossible.
Yeah.
Right? Because we are not made to blend in. We are made to stand out.
Yeah.
Yes. So if if I can only share just one, I feel it's just be your authentic self. Yeah.
That's why you quit the corporate world, because that's the wrong pack hole.
That's one. And also, I don't want to be sitting at the opposite end of that big corporate table. And not being able to call the shots. I mean, I'm very grateful. I was just talking to my wife recently during one of these frequent dates, is that we're very grateful that we don't have to report to anybody. We don't have to report to anybody for the past 20 years. We can wake up as and when we want to wake up, right? We can travel as and when we want to travel. And we can do as and when whatever we want to do without having to submit to any, I would say, authority in the corporate world. And one of the best things I would say, I mean, this one probably just sidetrack, but have you watched Top Gun Maverick? Yes.
Best movie I've seen in a very long time.
Oh, I was so, talking about that, I'm so excited.
I saw your post about
it. Okay, you read that, right? In fact, after coming back from Maldives, I'm going to watch it together with Serene's cousin from Hong Kong. Recently, he came to Singapore. And I'm going to watch it for the third time. So probably the fourth time. In fact, Top Gun Maverick just crossed $1 billion box office.
That's crazy, yeah.
Yep. And listeners dialing in, you want to learn about leadership, right? Do go and watch Top Gun Maverick, but don't watch Top Gun Maverick before, or rather don't watch Top Gun Maverick until you have watched Top Gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very important. Very, very important. And that's when truly it's that's the thing that I want to share, the Top Gun Maverick part. And then wow, how is she or how is he?
I got 4 dogs here, so I'm trying to keep them under control, but
it's okay. You're doing a great job, and I think that's good. Okay, I like that. I think really dogs, I think they truly love their owners unconditionally, right?
Yeah, if you're doing the right thing with them, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I mean, talking about Top Gun Maverick, right? We like it because we can watch the movie, in the daytime when there's nobody in the movie theater. So, yep. So thanks to all these events that happen in my life. And really thanks for inviting me on your podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're not almost there though, because I still want to ask.
Sure. Okay.
I know I'm almost there. Sorry, but
no problem. It's okay, bro. For you, we can go 3 hours, 4 hours. Is all right.
Okay. If you could give advice to anyone about personal development, or if a tool that would be very helpful, what would be the one thing for people to help them improve themselves?
Definitely, firstly, to dial into this podcast regularly, right? If there's only one tip, this is not going to be easy. Why? Because there's so many things, so many tools that have. Yeah. So if there's only one, find someone who can be tough on you. You see, Milan, we know there are many seminars out in the market, right? Okay, there are many YouTube videos. I mean, compared to like 20 years ago or 10 years ago, anything that can help our life be better can be discovered and found for free on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right? Okay, anything that we want, right? Okay, can be found on the internet. Even some of the top, Ivy League schools, they are giving free classes on the internet, right? As compared to many years ago. So the most important tool, I would say the most important method, find someone that you have access to regularly. regularly, because it takes time to mold us to be better people. Find someone who is willing to say not the diplomatically correct, or politically correct stuff, okay, making us feel happy, but find someone who is willing to be tough and say things that may hurt us, that may make us angry.
Yeah, someone that can keep us accountable.
Yes, right, okay. And not just accountable, but really being able to drive it through, like, what are we doing with our life? Right, okay, why are we wasting time, etc., right, okay, and on a regular basis. So I'm very grateful to my first business ever mentor, because back then I have like time with him almost every single day, or alternate 3 days, or once every week. And I was constantly on my toes. It's like the Navy SEAL, right? It's like the Navy SEAL, okay? I mean, can you imagine all the Navy SEALs? They have instructors whereby they allow them, the new recruits to do whatever that they like. Then they will not be called Navy SEALs. Right, because Navy SEALs, the instructors put them through such physical and mental challenge. But you see, they always have a bell to ring.
To give up.
They just have to put their helmet there and ring the bell, and then they give up. Right? So to be our best in terms of personal development, there has to be a Navy SEAL instructor in our life.
That's really good.
Most of us are too lenient on ourselves.
Yeah, including myself for sure.
Yeah, including myself as well, right? Okay, so it's not easy, because we would die for other people, but usually, when it comes to just us, right? Okay, we will be pretty lenient. So just now I mentioned God, family, health, wealth, legacy. So that's when, if we are able to find someone in each of these different areas of our life that we feel to be important, someone to hold us accountable, like what you mentioned, someone who has already been there, done that. They are the Navy SEAL instructor of wealth. They're the Navy SEAL instructor of health. They're the Navy SEAL instructor of family, right? Okay. Then I'm quite confident, given time, if we stick to those Navy SEAL instructors in various areas of our life, even though certain times we may not feel like meeting them. Milan, yesterday, I had a session with one of my spiritual director, okay, Father Damien. Before meeting him, I didn't really want to meet him, right? Because because I could be better, right? Okay.
Yeah, those are the people that tell you what you don't want to hear.
Yes, I could be better. So, so I was like, there's this part of me right that morning, yesterday morning, wanting to like text him and say, I don't know whether you still remember, or we can meet maybe next week. But I thank God that I went ahead with the meeting, because I know I needed that, right? I know I needed that meeting.
That alignment.
So, yes, correct. So Milan, so I'm not perfect. I'm not super good, right? I think any personal development trainers out there or teachers out there who say that they are the best, I think that's just BS, because all of us have got weakness. None of us is perfect, right? And there are many meetings that we know we should go, but we didn't want to go. And these are the meetings that we should definitely and must go. Right? Okay. So aligning with what I've shared, finding that Navy SEAL instructor in various areas of our life, I think it all revolves around getting out of our comfort zone. I think we heard that very often, right? Getting out of our comfort zone. But you and I know it's easier said than done. It's called a comfort zone for a reason because it's comfortable. And we human beings would always choose the path of least resistance because it's comfortable, right? Okay. There's a meaning, there's a reason for saying it's a comfort zone, right? I mean, I have a comfort zone. Some of my friends know me, during the start of pandemic times, I'm pretty comfortable. Some of my closer friends know me, I'm very comfortable. I'm not doing anything much. I'm just spending time with my family, right? Okay, happily semi-retired. And I was just happy to be comfortable in my comfort zone. And just now I was mentioning this gentleman called Nick Santo, right? Okay. And I'm so grateful to him because I met him at a Tony Robbins event for about 20,000 people. And I like him because for our listeners in here who don't know Nick Santo, okay, I met this fine gentleman and he's got no legs and he's got only one arm. Nick Santo, no legs, only one arm. And I'm so proud of him because he should be the person that remains in his comfort zone because no legs, one arm, right? If it's me, I will definitely wallow in self-pity and say, I don't want to go out, man. I don't want to go on a flight because everyone's going to look at me, right? Okay, when I go out for meals, everyone's going to look at me. I got one arm, no legs. What could I do? Right? Why not just live on pension or live on the government's funds, right?
Yeah, the easy way out.
Yes, but I'm so delighted, if you ask me some of the events in my life, if you ask me a recent event is that I'm able to call him my brother, right? Okay. In fact, he wrote the foreword to my book. And what happens is that he could wallow in self-pity and remain in his comfort zone, but he didn't. And do you know what he did? He became a bodybuilder. One arm, no legs. He became a bodybuilder, so much so that even, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, went to take a photo with Nick Santo himself.
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson didn't take photo with other people. All of us wanted to take photo with The Rock, right? Okay. He went to take photo with Nick Santo because he's like, gosh, you got no arms and, one arm and no legs, right? You have a strong mindset. You are definitely getting out of your comfort zone. And I'm so proud of him because he won some trophies in these bodybuilding competitions. And he even participated in these wrestling competitions with people like you and I with two arms and legs. And he won some of these competitions.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. And not only that, he could have remained in that and probably just let the whole world know that, even though he's physically challenged, but he's still, able to win trophies at wrestling or bodybuilding. But he didn't stop there. He met someone who knew Tony Robbins and he started to up his personal development, okay? And he was invited by Tony Robbins to partner with him, okay, on speaking in front of thousands of people. And he kept on being invited by Tony Robbins again and again and again. And I was able to get into a private Zoom call with him, okay, because I signed up for his these private coaching packages, whereby he charges people easily about $20,000, right, for I think a short period of time, like 90 days. And what happens is that I asked him this question. I call him brother, bro. Okay, how come you can feel comfortable in the uncomfort zone? Why are you willing to get out of your comfort zone? Why? And something that he shared with me, I will always remember. Right? I will always remember. Whenever people ask me with regards to comfort zone, I will share on this. He told me this. You know what, Jet? I've got one arm and no legs. I'm the best person to be wallowing in self-pity. Right? But then I asked myself this question, starting with 3 words. Well, you see, the moment I recall that conversation, my goosebumps, came out, my goosebumps. He said this, how dare you? How dare you, Nick? While millions of people are bedridden, they can't even get out of their hospital bed to see the world. You are mobile. How dare you wallow in self-pity? How dare you remain in your comfort zone? How dare you, Nick? How dare you? And when I heard that, I was like, wow. Milan, bro, I felt ashamed of myself.
Yeah.
And I started to write. You know what I started to write? I started to write, how dare you, Jet? Remain comfortable in your comfort zone, just spending time with your family, right? You should be going out there to impact more people's lives. How dare you be so selfish, Jet? You got 2 arms and 2 legs. You have been through so much, of personal development. How dare you just be comfortable and enjoy yourself? How dare you? How dare you, Jet? Wow, bro, that really rocked me out of my comfort zone, man. How dare you, Jet? How dare you, Jet? Only think of yourself.
Yeah.
How dare you, Jet? Only think of your family. How dare you, Jet? Only think of being comfortable. How dare you? Wow, bro, that's, I mean, that's one of the most impactful conversation I ever had, until literally tears rolled down my eyes. How dare, wow, gosh, how dare you? And recently, I believe you heard about BNI, right? The BNI Business Network International, they have it all across the world. I happen to know the director of BNI Singapore, and he invited me to speak to his whole Singapore directors and above BNI chapter leaders. And there was a point in time, I think he wanted me to share something related to comfort zone. And I shared this, conversation with Nick Santo. They were all like, fired away. And one of the ladies even moved on, to publish her life's first book. Because she was too comfortable. She was just too comfortable. And that's one thing that Nick Santos showed me and shared with me, Jet, that's how I got out of my comfort zone, because how dare I, Nick? I've got at least 1 arm. I'm still mobile. Many millions of people are paralyzed on the bed. They can't even move their limbs, right? Okay, they're not even mobile. How dare I, Nick, remain in my comfort zone? And he also shared with me the second thing that he did. And he said, you know what, Jet? A lot of times, right? Wow. Like, just now I mentioned the acronyms ENERGY, starting with early riser, right? So many people will be thinking, oh yeah, Jet, oh yeah, Milan, do you mean I really have to be an early riser? Do you mean I have to wake up early, right? Really? I have to do that? Wow. And Nick shared with me something that totally shifted my paradigm, right? Okay, my perspective. And he said, Jet, instead of using, I have to do this, I have to wake up in the morning, I have to eat healthily, I have to take care of my family, I have to be kind, I have to love my family. Why don't we change the have tos to get to? Wow, I get to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning. At least I'm alive, right? Wow, I get to eat healthily. At least I have a choice. Wow, I get to run 8 kilometers this morning. At least I've got legs, right?
Yeah, gratitude.
Wow, okay, I get to be on this podcast. At least I could talk, right? So he mentioned to me something is about showing gratitude. Change all the have tos to get to. right? Instead of, complaining about life, complaining about things, complaining about the boss. Wow, why don't change it to I get to work under a boss who's not so good yet? Right. So with gratitude, right, things will become better. That's what he shared with me. So that's when I realized, and I shared with some of my entrepreneur friends, some of them got to make calls. Some of them got to talk to suppliers. Some of them got to talk to investors. Some of them got to talk to business partners, collaborators, joint venture partners. And some of them say, hey, Jet, I'm tired, do I really do I have to make the next call? And I shared with them, why don't you change it to get to? I get to impact life. Yeah. I get to call my next supplier. Okay. He may say yes, right? Okay. I get to call the next customer. He could be impacted by my project, right? So he said this, how dare you and get to. These 5 words totally changed his life for the better.
Yeah. Mindset. Yeah, that's great.
And that's something I will never forget. I'm totally indebted to him for helping me get out of my comfort zone.
Awesome. What is your one favorite quote?
Favorite quote? Okay. If you saw my WhatsApp, it's been there for, I think, many, many years, probably more than a decade.
Wow.
And it is taken from the Bible. And the 3 words I like. And the complete sentence is, many are called, but few are chosen. Many are called, but few are chosen. And that's my favorite quote, because I wasn't a born Catholic. I wasn't a cradle Catholic. I didn't have any specific faith when I grew up in life. But I knew that throughout certain events and certain people in my life, I've always been called to him. I've always been called to know more about him. And that's when, after various times, be it of even strangers knocking on my door to talk about him, or, friends, inviting me to church, or, someone talking to me about their life transformation, even those who are very rich and powerful. Like I know of a listed company boss, whereby he said that the happiest thing in his life is not about his company being listed, he lives in this large bungalow, but it's about him, discovering his faith. So that's when, at the age of, after I got married to Serene, we started business. We were doing pretty well from 26 and 27, 28 years old even, right? And that was when suddenly I just felt emptiness in my heart. I didn't know what to do. I was doing well, happily married, okay. Got a nice house. I got good materialistic possessions, right? Got friends. But I just felt emptiness in my heart, so much so that I remember there was once, parked in my car park, in my Mercedes Benz. I don't know why I just suddenly started crying. I just cry. I don't know. I just felt alone. I just felt lonely. And that was also the time that I resort to alcohol. Yeah, I resort to alcohol, and I drank, just to numb myself of that feeling, so that I don't have to face it, don't have to face it, so that I can remain in my comfort zone, right? Okay, just numbing myself, and I drank. So much so that I just threw up many times. I didn't feel good, but better than having that emptiness feeling, right? So that's when I asked Serene about her faith. She's also smart, being so close to me, she didn't tell me much. She said, "Oh, you want to know more? I introduce you someone." Okay. Right. Okay. Leverage, right? So she introduced me someone, and then I went to chat with him, and then I began on a journey of discovering my faith. Yep. So that's when I know that many are caught, okay, but few are chosen. And talking about that, I believe that, bro, you're definitely caught for a purpose, right? To be in this amazing country. And I believe you're called to do great work. You're being chosen. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
It's so great. Before we finish up, what are your next plans coming up?
I think I'll talk about in terms of these 5 important things in my life. In terms of God, I definitely have to share more, right, to some friends around me. I've not been sharing much of my faith, right? Okay, so thanks for inviting me to this podcast. Of course, I know everyone has got different faith, okay? So for me, I always believe in the right timing. So I will have to share more, okay? Maybe not too optimistically, but probably just a few friends, around my vicinity that God sent to me in my life. I could share with them about my faith. So that's God. Yeah. At the same time, making sure that I live my life in a God-fearing manner, such that my daughter can see what I do. Because I don't think she will do what I say, but she will definitely do what I do, right? Okay. So that's one in terms of my faith. Secondly, for family-wise, definitely we will take trips as often as possible, right? Of course, one thing that restricts us is that my whole family are still not vaccinated.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, of course, I don't want to go much details into that. We belong to a community whereby, like Joe Rogan, the famous podcaster, he's not vaccinated. So there are certain beliefs that we hold on to. So the government could not force us. Nobody can force us. I got some friends whereby, if they find that the government forces them, then they will just migrate. Yep.
Wow.
Yes. So that will restrict some of us in terms of our trips to certain countries that will look at our vaccination status. That's why we chose Maldives, because Maldives welcomes unvaccinated travelers. Yep. And hopefully one day Vietnam will do it as well.
Yeah,
right?
they're loosening up a lot. So
very good, loosening up a lot. So family-wise, I will take more trips. Definitely go on more dates with Serene. Right, I think it's very important, especially when we got children. It's important to spend time just alone with our spouse instead of just with our family, but only with our spouse. That's very important. Or else our wife becomes just a mother. Okay, right? Okay, and we just become a father. We're no longer the husband of our wife.
Yeah.
So that's for the family. And in terms of health, like I mentioned, I'll embark on the BJJ journey, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu journey. Not so much just for physical health, but I like the aspects of mental challenge. And I've seen some of these BJJ black belts and even red belts masters. Wow, they're the most powerful people on earth, right? Okay, but they're very calm.
Yeah, it's a very interesting sport. I'm more into the striking and boxing.
Oh, I see. Very good. Very good. Wow, proud of you.
I'm around the community of MMA, especially
very good. Yes. Wow, so, MMA. Well, I must learn from you, bro. Okay.
Well, not me. I'm just a boxer.
Okay.
But wow, okay. I have a lot of respect for people who know how to roll and all that. So
yeah, I feel that even boxers, right? Okay, you got to be very very strong here. Because like what, who was it that say, was it Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali, right? You could keep your cool until you get punched in the face, right?
Mike Tyson, yeah.
Yes, Mike Tyson. So when we get punched in the face is how do we still keep our cool?
Yeah, that's why I like sparring so much. It's a bad, I don't know why I like it so much, but it's that pressure that really pushes you further and wanting to succeed and progress.
Yes, that's very good. And I feel that one of the things about MMA, right, okay, is that it kept us to stay very present at the moment. I mean, as we are sparring, we could not think about what's happening out there. Right? It's just okay, right?
It's all in front of you.
Yes, correct. Just what's in front of us. And I think too many people are living either in the past or living in the future.
Yeah, both things you can't. The future you can work for, but the past you can't change. So there's no point of staying back.
Most people are not staying at the present moment. That's why you don't see many people being grounded. They're always moving, either in worrying about the past or worrying about the future or remembering the past. So that's for this health-wise in terms of BJJ. And then for the wealth-wise, so like I mentioned, I'm embarking on a project with a German deep technology company. So thus far, we have made, not too bad, just a couple of months, we made more than $250,000 profit.
Nice.
So I think for the next 3 years, we should be able to cross $5 to $10 million as the business progress. So that's what we're going to do and expand throughout Asia Pacific. And one day, okay, I believe it will come to your beloved country. Then by then we can chat more. And then last but not least, of course, legacy, which I'm going to keep on, when people invited me on their podcast or I'm invited to talks, be it in financial planning organizations or real estate companies, and I'll continue to share the message of the 9 Steps Goal Mastery, right? And moving forward, maybe not now, maybe not next year, but maybe in the middle term future. Because now the 9 Steps Goal Mastery is a broad base using the 9 steps to achieve your goals in various areas of your life. So probably the next project I may embark on is the 9 Steps Goal Mastery, and I change it to 9 Steps Public Speaking Mastery.
Nice.
Yeah. Whether presenting on stage or presenting in front of a large crowd, okay, during Zoom. Yeah. So recently, I think a couple of years back, one of my friends who runs a very successful financial institution, so invited me to institute a program for them. So we managed to do, can you imagine a 3 days, 2 nights Zoom event, right? And the participants, they are just in their room facing their Zoom computer. But at the end of the event, okay, they are more excited than they have ever been in their life. And they got a lot of transformation and breakthroughs. So I may institute that in terms of the seminar.
Nice.
To more people around the world. So that's what I can think of in terms of the legacy. Yep. For the time being. Yep.
Awesome. That's super exciting, all of that. Well, great. This has been truly an amazing catch up, basically. It's really interesting to deep dive a little bit into your mind and yeah, it's just been great. Thank you so much for your time. I'm really grateful for that. I know you're a busy man. Really want to thank you for that. And before you go, where can the people follow you?
Follow me. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not very well versed with social media.
Okay.
So they could just search me. I think Jet Toh, there's a public page. So, but I don't really post that often. Yeah. Okay. So, of course, another social media that some of my friends made for me is for readers of the book. So they'll be invited into this private Facebook group. So over there are a number of posts whereby I shared with some of my friends regarding some of my private life. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe somewhere on social media. I'll link it, and I'll also link the website below.
Sure.
But yeah, thank you so much for being on. It was great. A good catch up of 2 hours.
Yes, time flies
when you're having fun.
I mean, it feels like half an hour only.
Oh yeah, it goes quick. Awesome.
Right. Thank you so much, bro.
Awesome. Thank you so much.